This video is going to be of a later revelation. Um, he, just to clarify, um, this person is running everything. They have access to surveillance, but I don't have any clarity on in terms of what their involvement is. So it is, it is the guy who's running things, and he later revealed something that is so horrifying that it hurts my chances of getting help greatly. But it's so fucked up I have to tell people. I wrote it down so that I could have everything here. Um, he said that I was supposed to live an entire lifetime out here, and that he was making me unconscious for everything except for my mid 20s to my mid 30s, and that I was allowed to experience my childhood like super infrequently so that I would at least have memories. But I have no idea what's supposed to happen over the next 40 years. Um, Whatever he's doing to me is essentially like a roofie, and that I look normal to people around me, but I was not experiencing anything. So he made people like do the same shit so that I was doing the same thing as a cover to shut my consciousness down, and that no one would be able to tell the difference because I just kept doing the same things forever. Um, and if your consciousness is fucked with even slightly, it takes your free will from you, so you'll just keep doing the same thing. Um, and that was his cover to pull my consciousness back. And when I was conscious like I am now, it's pulled back slightly so that I can't break out and do something different. Um, if everything is arranged the same for eternity, it takes your free will from you. He said that he had set me up on despicable charges, and these are crimes you never get charged with a second time if you had been aware of what was happening. He said that he wanted to lure me away from society and was having people, like fucked up people like him, torture me for his entertainment, essentially. So he would have been listening to me with telepathy, and that's what he was getting off on, and that's why I was allowed to live so long after I got hacked. Um, he said that he was making people fight me so that I would spend a huge amount of time in solitary confinement. And he had given me a flash of consciousness when I was in there, but I obviously didn't know what the fuck was going on. Um, I wasn't doing very good. And he said this was intended to either get me to kill myself or turn me into a crazy person, so that when he finally decided to let me in on like what was happening, I would have a reputation as being like a crazy person or something. I don't know. Um, and when I try and convey what's happening now, it will not be believed, so that no one will help me or intervene. He said that me getting arrested and my subsequent behavior over the next 40 years had caused society to turn on me. I had spent a whole lifetime not knowing why people were fucking with me. I thought it was just part of my punishment for being here. But he was essentially arranging people that didn't like me to be around me. Um, so he was having people from all walks of life fuck with me. So like when I'm walking down the aisles in stores and stuff like that, people were essentially waiting to run into me with their shopping carts and like crowd me and shit. It was just like petty bullshit to basically like harass me. And it did make it look like everyone was in on what was happening to me. It happened the first time as well as the second time. So these people were not waiting for me based on what I had done previously. They were being instructed to do it the first time. Um, I may have taken a video of this at some point, but it may have been so infrequent that it could have been lost in time. Um, if I go to a bar or something like that, these people would hand me tainted drinks, and it would have been the same stuff no matter what bar I went to or where I went, and same with my cigarettes at some point. Um, Now, the only person with authority could convince them to hand me like a mystery item that had been tainted and that it wouldn't just like kill me outright. And this is the only person that would have known that the computers at the hospital would have been hacked, so it would have shown normal blood work. And that's how he arranged for people to get away with this kind of thing. And if I wasn't even fucking conscious or experiencing it, these people would have gotten away with this for a considerable amount of time, and it would have probably become mundane to them to do that. he said he was trying to deter me from like going back to their establishment over and over again or something. I don't fucking know. Um, Either way, when that happened, if they handed me something that was fucked up, I would have like the pain and nausea blocked. And I thought that was a tech that was doing that to protect me. I didn't know that he was artificially increasing like anti-nausea stuff so that when I went to the hospital and the blood work was blocked, that it would never get registered as something that had taken place. Um, he also organized the call centers and jobs that I worked at in general to be places that were people were organized to fuck me pretty severely. And I wasn't aware of this at the time, but the call centers in particular were places that were intended to get me to want to kill myself. Now, um, in both places, these people who worked there were intended to be nice to me and stuff like that, to keep me in basically a hellish environment. And I was only allowed to be conscious during basically the blandest part of my life where nothing was happening whatsoever and I was not talking to anyone. So if these people were being nice to me in the call center, I would have been more inclined to stay there. And they were making the same people call in over and over and over again. And, you know, I just stayed there because if I went to a different job, he would arrange people to fuck with me there too. And I didn't know this was intended to get me to kill myself. Um, you know, all of it was so organized and coordinated that it made it look like it was part of my punishment. And because it's organized by the guy who was actually running shit, able to talk to all these people, it generally made it look like everyone was in on it. Um, you know, I was kind of isolated and not really talking to my parents and stuff like that about what was going on because it was so organized. I thought that everyone was aware of what was happening to me, and he had essentially created my own personal hell around me by organizing people who didn't care for me to be in my vicinity at all times. And it was not at all like people were prejudiced against me. It was like they were all doing things in a coordinated fashion. And it's like fucking every day for thousands of years. I don't know. Um, this person is like deeply psychotic and was allowing me to live primarily because he was getting off on all the suffering that he was getting away with creating around me. And he had been tormenting me for so long with telepathy because he was getting off on the suffering. And it sounds insane, but that's because most people aren't psychopaths. Most people don't get off on suffering of others. And that's why he had taken that position of power to begin with, is so that he could fuck with someone like me. Now, I'm the only potential victim for this kind of thing because if someone torments with you with telepathy or you get hacked, there's supposed to be intense intervention. But if you're trapped in this time period that's just really basic and signs and symptoms are blocked, your reputation was tarnished, and the diagnostics are blocked, there is no possibility of help before you succumb to what's happening. And the way you know that this will definitely be a murder and not a medical problem is that I will have good blood work and I will look fine up to the point where I collapse. He has been cranking on my intestines a little bit each day to mimic like a health problem. So I will have gotten poisoned long after I had tried to get help. And this is something that's been happening more recently over like the last 20 days or so or more that he's been cranking the stuff on.